All right, yeah. Now that I look at it, when I was doing the last video, yeah, I certainly do want to start moving the troops from Breslau around this area to try to at least get ready and kind of give the Russians the idea that, you know, maybe we're not going to attack today, but we're on our way kind of thing. But first, I wanted to show why I'm using force markers or whatever. I mean, I know other people, some people couldn't care less. They love stacks. I think there's even some games that kind of advertise the fact that they're like pro stack or something, which would be something I would avoid. But anyway, so this battle group 2, and I'm just using the 8th Army HQ as a pretend marker for the fortress because that's, to keep it equally thick kind of thing. But anyways, that is basically the equivalent of that because all those counters are inside that. So, I mean, that's why, oh my God, it just drives me up the tree. However, I am breaking up the battle group because I'm going to be starting to spread out the troops. That's why I popped them there. But then when I saw the stack there, I was like, oh my God, that's why I can't stand these things. I just blows me away that people play that way, like for the Western Front or something. It's like, oh my God, like there's just, it would be like, oh yeah, yeah. Like that's a lot of counters I mean, my goodness, talk about population density. Hold on here. I'm just taking another sip of this amazing African red tea there. I can't remember. It's Robalus or something. It's from South Africa, but man, I'm really enjoying this. I'm sorry this isn't a tea video, but yeah, I just find it really nice on the stomach or whatever. I found lately I was going a bit berserk there with the fruit teas there, and it was, I guess maybe the acidity or something. It was driving me up the tree. But this is like really nice, and yet again, it's not got that chalky um, after like film to it, which I'm really surprised. Okay, I'll shut up. Okay, break up Battle Group 2, which I just did, and entrain the 3rd Reserve in Breslau at 0607 and rail to 1208 and detrain. So these guys, I'm not going to pop the train thing. I would do that by myself, but I'm not going to waste video time here. Um, get off on all this stuff. It's ridiculous. Okay, and where are they going to? 1208. Yeah, I think what I'm trying to do, well, like I said, one thing is to kind of give the Russians the idea that they don't have like carte blanche. They just do whatever the heck they want. And secondly, I am also trying to secure some rail lines, and so that way I can start feeding supply points and a lot easier, and so on and so forth. But I'll tell you one thing though, I don't give an F about any stuff down here towards Austria. I'm like, whatever, we're just dealing with the German border, and we're sealing that up. And I'm like, sorry, Austria, you got us into this mess, so you can figure out your own way out. Okay, so now what do I do? I'm in training the 6th Landwehr and the 19th Landwehr Brigades in Breslau, and I'm moving them to 0909, and I'm detraining them there. Okay. Yep, makes sense. I'm not attacking, but I'm getting ready. And I also, another thing is I didn't want to do is jam up all my troops into zones of control, like, into enemy zones of control, because, to start restricting movement later if I do need to start moving a troop or two around, because I don't know what the Russians are going to do. Okay, so that was that. And I think there's only one more I'm doing. Yet again, it's just another thing about securing rail line and all that stuff. And that's, I'm going to move the 69th Ersatz Brigade in Breslau at 0607 again, and I'm moving them to 0810. I'm not using the train this time, there's no need. Um, but yet again, I was in tons of, I was way under the threshold for how many divisions you can move by rail in one turn for the Germans. So that's it. I think I'm set up okay. I mean, next turn for the Germans, the headquarters are going to show up. One of the core HQs, is going to have 8 supply points with them already. So probably start maybe mounting an attack here. That's the other thing I'm going to have to remind myself is due to oh shoot. That was the other thing I have to remember too, is that I did detrain in an enemy zone of control, so that would cost me a movement point, because normally detraining doesn't cost you a movement point, but that would cost me a movement point, but wouldn't matter because I did detrain. I did use the train for that one, sorry, so it would matter. But I mean, look how close we are. I mean, when you get 1/10 movement, that's pretty good. What else? Yeah. So I've got to remember that since I'm going to be supplying the attacks with core HQs for a while, because I'm not able to bring the 9th Army, like a proper Army HQ down here yet, because it's still got to supply the 8th Army HQ, so that's going to take time. And you remember, you can't move and transfer supply at the same time. You can move and supply attacks and counterattacks, but you can't transfer, which makes sense. I mean, think what you're doing. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the other thing I have to remind myself, is that I can't load up, you know what I mean, in one area kind of thing with a lot of strength points if I'm not able to properly supply them with just a rinky-dink. And remember, like, yet again, it was that trick I caught. I keep thinking I'm allowed to do this trick, and you're not. Which is, I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. If a core HQ can only supply, you know, 2 supply points of for an attack, I'm like, okay, I'll just use a lot of core HQs for the same attack. And it's like, no, only, like, it's only up to a maximum of 2 supply points. It doesn't matter if it's 1 core HQ or 2 core HQs, or, you know, supplying the attack. It doesn't matter. So anyways, like, I'll have to remember that I, you know, so it is in a weird way, when it gets down to that, you really are doing it like what a core HQ should be, which is, you know, from what I've been reading anyways, most cores seem to be like 2 infantry divisions and all that stuff. All right, so yeah, that'll be the other thing I'll have to keep remembering, is that until I get a proper army HQ down here. But yeah, I'm jumping ahead again. I mean, all I've done is put people in position, and there's nothing to supply them with yet. So, okay, that's it. I think that was a relatively quickie. And then I'll do that combat way the heck up there in Prio River. And then we're off to, I have no idea who's next. Okay.